Welcome to the Path to Peace Therapy podcast. My name is Stephanie Buckley, an AMFT, marriage and family therapist who specializes in ADHD, OCD, and addiction. I went back to school to get my master's back when our son was in 10th grade. He is now 22. It actually was in one of the courses that I had taken on childhood disorders that I put two and two together. I was reading about ADHD, and I had suddenly realized that our son ticked all of the boxes. Not only did our son tick all of the boxes, but my husband of over 3 decades did as well. I have lots of experience in this area, both personally and professionally, and I wanted to help others develop strategies as well as emphasize the need for early intervention. Here's something that stopped me in my tracks. 30% of high school students are losing sleep because of vaping. And for teens with ADHD, this creates a perfect storm of health challenges that nobody's really talking about. Those numbers are really eye-opening. What's particularly concerning is how nicotine vaping is disrupting sleep patterns in teens who are already struggling with attention issues. Well, let's dig into how nicotine affects the brain's circadian rhythm. You know, it's fascinating. This substance essentially tricks your brain into staying alert when it should be powering down. The research shows it's interfering with sleep in multiple ways, creating this cascade of problems. I'll break down those sleep disruptions. I think many of you might be surprised by the full impact. So first, there's this delay in melatonin release, our natural sleep hormone. But what's really interesting is how this creates this ripple effect throughout the entire sleep cycle. Then we're seeing increased nighttime wake-ups from nicotine withdrawal. And get this, studies show kids who vape are waking up at least twice every night. That's exactly what makes this so concerning, especially when you consider how crucial REM sleep is for emotional regulation and memory. Here's where it gets really tricky. These sleep disruptions create this vicious cycle where teens wake up exhausted, so they turn to vaping for energy during the day, which then makes it even harder to sleep that night. For teens who already struggle with attention regulation, this cycle is particularly devastating. You know what caught my attention? That statistic about 25% of teens who vape experiencing insomnia symptoms. When you combine that with ADHD's typical racing thoughts at bedtime, you're essentially supercharging that mental activity. The research shows it's affecting everything from immune function to metabolism. These disrupted sleep patterns are actually interfering with hunger hormones, leading to weight gain and other health issues. So what kind of practical solutions are showing promise in helping teens break this cycle? Well, here's something interesting. Research shows that exercise is crucial. An indoor trampoline for just 15 minutes in the morning where they can run in place or jump around can kickstart those endorphins and help reset the circadian rhythm. It's a $60 solution from Amazon that's perfect for families who are on a time crunch in the morning. Creating a sleep-friendly environment is crucial. The studies show that having a cool, dark, quiet room combined with a weighted blanket can improve sleep quality by up to 30%. How does a weighted blanket work with the body's natural systems? It's actually pretty amazing. The weighted blankets work with the body's pressure points to promote serotonin and melatonin release. Think of it like getting a gentle, constant hug throughout the night. And when you combine this with other techniques, like the brain dump method, writing down thoughts before bed, we're seeing anxiety reduction, of up to 50% in some cases. And what about the connection between attention, hyperactivity, mood, and nicotine addiction? This is where things get really serious. Teens with ADHD are 2.5 times more likely to develop nicotine addiction compared to their peers. The tricky part is that nicotine temporarily increases dopamine levels, making them feel more focused in the short term, but it's actually creating this dangerous dependency cycle. And here's the kicker: 45% of teens with ADHD show increased impulsivity due to substance use. These solutions seem practical, but the struggle comes when trying to implement them. There will be all types of pushback, and it will not be pretty. But I have witnessed positive changes in our own home and with many of my clients. That's exactly why I recommend starting small and building gradually. Maybe begin with morning sunlight exposure and that indoor trampoline for exercise. Exercise is key to getting the brain to regulate. Then gradually add in other elements like the weighted blanket or the brain dump technique. What's really fascinating is how these consistent patterns can help regulate dopamine levels naturally, which is particularly beneficial for teens trying to break free from nicotine dependence. Here are my final thoughts. So it really comes down to understanding how all these factors, sleep, ADHD, and vaping, are interconnected. We can't just focus on one aspect. It's about addressing the whole system. But here's the encouraging part. Positive changes in one area often create ripple effects in others. When families understand these connections and implement these evidence-based strategies, they're not just helping their teens sleep better. They're potentially breaking a cycle that could have lasting impacts on their health and well-being. Recognizing these challenges is vital for improving management strategies for both sleep and ADHD in teens. By taking actionable steps, like establishing boundaries around nicotine use, fostering calming nighttime routines, and tailoring strategies to address ADHD-related sleep issues, parents and caregivers can help their teens navigate these turbulent waters more effectively. Thank you for listening. Until next time.